Welcome to the Upshot interview series. It is episode number 10. We've hit the double digits. We'll be here for a while. Triple digits en route in a couple years. We have a fantastic interview for you today with Luke Humphries, who is currently sitting atop the Disc Golf Pro Tour standings after 2 top 5 finishes at LVC and Waco. And Josh. Well, yet again, we've got another great interview. I mean, first of all, I feel like we've been hitting winners so far, which is great, because you don't always get great interviews in disc golf. Mm-hmm. You don't. But this is something different because Luke Humphries is a very different type of character. He is not your Paul Macbeth type guy. He's just not. And he is a fascinating character. And I think everyone who listens to this is going to absolutely love it.
I loved it. I mean, I've seen a couple of the OTB skins. I watched a little bit of the Jomez round where they talked about him a bit. But that was really all I knew about Luke Humphries. This guy is someone who's memorable. He is cool. He's got a lot of interesting thoughts on disc golf and on what makes it great and what it's like being a touring professional. And I think, not only is this an amazing interview, it's going to be in stark contrast to, I think, a lot of interviews that we do this year. And so it's... In a good way. In a great way. Yeah, in a great way. It was fun. It was a fun interview.
So stick around to hear about so much from Luke Humphries, his background getting into disc golf, his time as a elite, I don't know if elite's the right word, but an excellent golfer, a ball golfer, his college experience, how he got started playing at the top level in disc golf, his Am Worlds win, and a lot more, his interest in rock collecting. There's so much here. Enjoy it, folks. We really did, and it's great to learn about somebody who's literally atop the standings right now and has scored more points so far this year on the Disc Golf Pro Tour than he scored in the entirety of the 2021 season. That is true. I just looked it up. So coming up, Luke Humphries with us here on the Upshot interview series. The Upshot is presented by Pound Disc Golf, makers of the best bags in the sport. And you know what? They make more than just disc golf bags. Check out their new Fly Pack. You can find it on the website, pounddiscgolf.com. It is the maximum carry-on size travel pack that you've been looking for. Backpack straps, or you can take those off and convert it into a duffel. It's got room for a laptop, a tablet, your clothes, your stuff, and you know what? Some disc golf discs, because obviously you're going to bring some on vacation. $299.99. And it's just a beautiful bag. You got to check it out. It's available in multiple colorways. Go to pounddiscgolf.com to check out the Fly Pack so that you can travel in style. Joining us now on the Upshot interview series is your current Disc Golf Pro Tour points leader and 2018 Amateur World Champion Luke Humphries. Luke, welcome to the program.
Hey, thanks for having me on, guys. Honored to be here.
Well, we're glad to have you. Thanks for making some time. I know you're busy in the midst of this Texas swing right now. Yeah. First and foremost, I mean, did you ever imagine yourself being atop the DGPT standings at this point?
No. Quick answer is no. I know that on some days I'm really good at this game. Other days I'm not. But I really, hard to imagine that I'd be sitting here like this, 50 points up or something.
Yeah, it's been quite the start to the season. I think there's been a bunch of speculation that I kind of want to just ask about right now. Yeah. Did you change your routine? Did you change your practice in some way over this off season? Were you taking a different approach to getting ready for 2022 that we're seeing, or is this something that just is happening organically?
I think it's probably the latter. I definitely practiced my putting in the off season for the first time really in my career, spent time focusing on, what I wanted my stroke to be and not it was figuring out what works for me at the end of the day. It was not doing super long sessions, 15 minutes, 3 times a day, really focusing during that 15 minutes on, on some certain things. And it sounds stupid because I'm supposed to be practicing putting, obviously, but until this point, practicing putting had always been something that made me worse. I'd practice and I'd start messing around, and then 15 minutes in, I'd just be lost. I'd forgotten my natural stroke, and so I was trying to keep it easy. I would just make it feel-based. So doing some practice putting, but that's really the only thing that changed during the off season. I think I didn't have as many duties as something I've talked about previously. I didn't have as much. I guess, with the GK crew, we're always trying to figure things out and keep it fresh. So we already knew we were doing skins. We knew we were doing the practice round thing this year. So there was just a lot more that was set in stone, less unknowns. And I think that helped me play good.
So what is it? I'm really curious now about the putting routine change. If it's made you worse in the past, what's different about your putting routine now that doesn't cause that kind of hitch in your feel-based play and allows you to effectively practice?
I simplified it even one step further. I keep it all on the same plane, which is working, right now. But disc golf is a crazy game, and even the best putters in the world struggle at times. So I'm not sitting here saying that I figured anything out for sure. I'm just, in my journey, I found a little bit of balance, and, keeping it on the same plane, keeping it right there in front of me is what I was working on this off season, but also putting quicker, not standing there and talking myself out of the target. I eyeball the target before I even walk up. I've got my link. I've already picked the one I want. So by the time I get there, I'm just like getting my body ready to throw at that link. And then I pull the trigger quicker than I used to. I want to make sure I do that as well.
Well, I want to talk a little bit about Waco, since of course that's what we just saw happen. You come, you got share the lead, and you're up there at the top in the final round. All the spectators, the cameras, everything. And I know you didn't end up coming down with the win, but obviously you were close, and you came into hole 18 with a theoretical chance. Yeah. And so what was the decision-making process not to go for it over the water on 18? I know it was a stiff headwind, but it seems like there was little to lose if you went for it.
Yeah, the decision came down to this. I thought it was more important to make sure I had a second shot for birdie than to make sure that my second shot was close for birdie. So if I had gone for it, possibly going in the water, possibly not, I felt like if I laid up to that spot, I at least had a run for the chance. I was guaranteeing myself that. It was also a 30-mile-an-hour headwind. I know that people are really good and they make it look easy, but there was only one birdie on the day. And I didn't know that going in, but I knew those conditions existed. Kevin Jones, the only birdie, he's also a world distance champion, which I'm far from. So going for the green, it seemed pretty stupid at the time. And giving myself an opportunity, just a small opportunity, like you said, it was, it wasn't going to be it was a home run. I was hoping, it was wishes and dreams, I threw it up there, left to right wind. I really thought it was going to drop. And I was surprised that it didn't, but at least I threw it hard enough.
So coming after Waco then, are you pleased with the result? Do you wish that you had done something different? Do you feel like it was so close and you could have done just a touch better? What are your feelings coming after this tournament?
Yeah, positive all around. There were, a few times where I've thought back and like, dude, I was so close to just winning that thing. Like, why did I, do this or that or whatever it may have been, throw my first shot of the round 25 feet straight out of bounds. There's a bunch of things that I could look back on and wish I did differently. But, once you do that on hole one, once I throw the worst shot I'm going to throw the entire round, that's a freeing experience. It sucks and it's embarrassing and there's a bunch of people there to watch it happen. But that's, quite literally the worst shot I'll throw the entire round. And I can be almost confident of that. So moving forward, I was a little more free, and you can't have that if you birdie the first hole or the second. Then the pressure is real, and it's a whole different experience.
Were you feeling nerves on the tee on one there?
Yeah. I mean, not crazy. I've said it a couple times to my friends, but I think that Paul Macbeth's best shot of the day was his first shot out of bounds, scaring me off of the hyzer line, which I knew that I could execute properly. He threw a bad shot. He made a bad wind read. He threw a bad shot. I thought it was a bad wind read. And so I switched my play, when in reality I should have continued with the play that I was going to. But when you see a disc go into a crowd of people, like every part of you wants to make sure that doesn't happen. So like right away I put my driver down. I was like, I don't care what happens. I'm not throwing a spike hyzer into a group of people next right after that, so that kind of, made me a little nervous. I think I went with a play that was low percentage, and looking back, it was a mistake that I'll be able to recognize in the future, I hope.
Do you feel that there should have been some changes then to crowd control in order to back people up, or was that just the inevitability of the situation?
Yeah, I think that's just the inevitability of the situation. We see in professional golf all the time balls going into the crowd, and we hope that no one's hurt. And most of the time, nobody is hurt, but that's just part of spectating. I think we can't push them too far back, because that's part of the fun, is being able to see your favorite player up close. It's what you paid to be there for.
So you have a background in golf. Tell us a little bit more about that. Maybe what your handicap is, and like how serious you got about it before you started to pursue disc golf with a little bit more focus.
I got pretty serious. I hadn't used up all my college eligibility, so I got good enough to get on a college team in Arkansas and attempted to do that. There were some grades issues and some other things that didn't work out. So I was good enough to play right around D1 golf about that time. I was 24, 25, had moved to Arkansas, taking some time off from school, and was keeping like a 3 to 4 handicap at that point, which was enough for me to play in the Arkansas stroke play, which was one of the bigger events I played in Arkansas. I did pretty poorly. Eagled my last hole, I believe, but didn't have too many birdies other than that. And never got really into the tournament scene, but to this day, I haven't found a disc golfer that can beat me. And if there's one out there watching this, like I've got, $1,000 minimum says I take you in a disc golf ball golf challenge right now.
Oh, let's go.
So hopefully somebody hits me up. I've been telling Drew Gibson or Kevin Jones or whoever, but I beat them regularly and I don't think they want me.
I love that challenge. So you're playing golf. What are you doing as a profession during that time?
I am cooking. I am also working at a golf course. What else did I do? I worked at a racetrack, Oaklawn Jockey Club there in Hot Springs, Arkansas. It's the largest privately owned horse track in the United States. It's kind of like the proving grounds for the Kentucky Derby. The race right before it gets run in Arkansas, and the top horses go on to then run at the Kentucky Derby. And when I was working there, it was the first time that somebody won the Triple Crown in a long time. That was American Pharaoh, and he came through that little track twice during that streak, and I got to see him like right there on the rail. And then a few months later he wins the Triple Crown. So I worked a bunch of different gigs, man. I was just bebopping around. I jumped back into community college at that point, got my grades turned around. I had left Kansas State in pretty bad shape grade wise and moved to Arkansas. So getting some of those grades turned around, getting back into Wichita State, and eventually graduating with a degree in business management. I think that's what moved me down to Texas, and that's why I eventually started disc golfing.
So,
go ahead, Charlie.
Go ahead, Josh.
Okay, so just following that storyline, and Charlie, if you want to jump in on that background. So you moved down to Texas, and I watched that Jomez little bio, and it talks about how you get Hogan, the goodest boy, and start disc golfing because you can spend time playing with him and being outside with him.
Yeah, that was the original switch from golf to disc golf, was the fact that it's 6 hours a day or whatever. If you want to hit balls before, a little after, it's just too much time.
So you start playing disc golf and realize that you're good at it. And so what's that progression there from 2017 playing disc golf so you can take your dog to 2018 US, was it World's Am Champ? Yeah. Am World's Champ. Yeah.
Man, it was, I'm a just competitive person. First of all, like whatever it is, I'm gonna figure out a way to get better at it. I hate losing more than I like winning. I think at the end of the day, and that's a lot of champions are gonna say that. So, dude, I made sure I figured out how to win. I picked a few guys in the Dallas area: Manny Lopez, GT Hancock, John Rivera, Louis Gonzalez, bunch of people that were winning, and I made sure that like I played with them and I could beat them, and that's I constantly surrounded myself with people better than me. And then, my next step was Nolan Greider, Emerson Keith, Nate Perkins, Paige Pierce. I moved up the rungs by playing the cash games in the DFW area, which are second to none. Monday Madness, you win $300. It's just a normal cash game, 11 o'clock, Jarinator. If you're in DFW, you got to go. If you consider yourself a top disc golfer anyways, it's one division, winner takes half the pot. It's a whole culture of winning in DFW and cash games and competitiveness, and that just bred Emerson into a killer. And watching Emerson not only take Paul down the stretch at Worlds, but then winning the VPO against Eagle shot for shot, throwing in an ace. It's the 2018 Veterans Park Open, I believe. I watched Emerson Keith beat Eagle, like standing there on the Jomez card. Which is actually my first Jomez experience. Now that I'm thinking of it, this wasn't my first Jomez experience, but that was a huge step for me. Seeing a good buddy of mine win and do it handedly, it was just like confirmation that what we're doing here in DFW can be taken anywhere in the world and work.
So, do you think that the like head-to-head cash game type atmosphere, which I don't even know of anything like that around here in the New York metro, do you think that's breeding high quality disc golfers?
100%. The Jonathan Nicholson, I don't know if you guys know about him, but when I was finishing my amateur days in 2018, moving up to pro in 2019, he was just starting to feel the fire that I had felt and playing in the same cash games. And that guy now won the Oklahoma Open A-tier last year. He qualified for the USDGC, I believe. He's turning himself into a killer. We've got GT Hancock. I played with Danny Vasquez the other day. Cameron Shirley. Like, these are people that nobody knows about yet, but that have so much game. 2 weeks ago, Cameron Shirley took me into a playoff. The next week, I have a chance to take Paul Macbeth into a playoff, and nobody knows Cameron Shirley's name, but kid's got game, just like a bunch of people in DFW. It's crazy, man. I could just make a list, dude. Landon Knight, Casey Wright, like there's so many of them. Kevin Bates, there's gamers in this area.
It sounds like great fun.
It is.
I go out there and be a donator for sure. I don't know if I can step up into this cash game scene, but so it's just a fascinating progression. So then you go to Am Worlds and you win it. Did you expect to win when you went there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I had lost the USA DGC about 2 months before that to Clint Calvin, who's now on tour, fantastic golfer from the San Diego part of the world. And I had taken the lead into the final rounds. I knew that I was one of the best amateurs, in the United States or the world or whatever at that point. So yeah, going in, I knew that it was mine to lose, which gave me a little bit of confidence. And I played, to this day, maybe one of the best rounds of my life. That opening round at the Am World Championships, raining. I woke up, it was a monsoon first round, like looked out the window. It was just as hard of rain as I'd ever seen it. Showed up in my swimsuit with my waterproof shoes, no towel, no umbrella. I was just going to do this El Natural, not try and fight the water, just accept the water. And it didn't rain too hard during the round. But yeah, almost aced my first hole, barely missed my putt, birdied 16 in the next 17.
Wow. That's awesome. So
yeah.
When did you know that you wanted to go on tour, and how did you envision that playing out? Were you like, I'm ready for the big, I won Am Worlds. What more can I do as an amateur? I'm ready to go and compete at the top level. Or was it more, I'm just curious how we got to that point, because I find you to be a very fascinating character, as a player because you seem extremely, I mean, even right now, like you're very calm, chill, and you're kind of like let the game come to you. And you obviously are just like oozing with talent, which can be seen from the AM Worlds win, but also what we've seen in these last couple of tournaments. So I'm just really curious because we talk to people on the show all the time who are like, have been driven to play disc golf since they were 14 years old and are like ultra competitive, hardcore type A. And that you don't seem to fit that mold exactly.
No, yeah, definitely not type A. I think when I saw this is a good question, Charlie. Thank you. When I saw Nate Perkins, I think was the first person, and I was like, that's a lifestyle that I could get behind. You're in a fresh place with the same friends. You get the community, but you get to live this kind of nomad lifestyle out of a van, which was very appealing to me as well. I grew up moving a lot, so my life is built on chaos in different places and packing up and doing, whatever. It's the one I've known my entire life. I was born in Ohio, lived in Brazil, Texas, and Kansas before first grade, and then eventually moved to Japan for 3 years. So, our family, it was a blessing looking back, to be all these different places, but it didn't feel like it at the time. That's something that I've reflected on and figured out now, but the lifestyle was appealing. I saw Perkins finding success, and then he'd come back to DFW and we'd play and we were comparable. He was good and he had a fantastic forehand, but he was, down the stretch at Idlewild in 2018, almost winning that and then going into a playoff with Germ at Waco. Like, this was a guy that was making moves on the tour that was one of my buddies and somebody that I felt like I could hang with. So a lot of credit to Nate Perkins for showing me the ropes to a degree, and he'll claim he didn't, but no, that dude's a good homie, and not just to me. I think there's a lot of people on tour that appreciate Nate Perkins. He was the first.
So how did you, and at what point did you get involved with OTB Skins?
Yeah, that happened during COVID. We started out the 2020 year at the Memorial, and then we came to Waco, and, things were starting to buzz about, this virus and might have to shut down. All the other sports are shutting down. Eventually we call our tournament short and shut down. And I go to Arkansas and start hanging out there. I've got some family. We've got a little property. The state's gorgeous. So if I was going to be stuck somewhere, why not Arkansas? I could dig rocks. I could golf. I could hang out with my family. So Arkansas was where I kicked it for months until finally, all of a sudden I get a message like Arkansas opened up for PDJ sanctioning or whatever, This is, I think, May, maybe June. Somebody hit me up. It was 10 p.m. I was having a few drinks with some friends, but immediately, I got to work. I texted the owner of Persimmon Ridge. I texted Kim and said, is this something that we could do, run a beat here at your property like this weekend or whatever? And she's like, hey, that's a little quick. You think it could work? And I'm like, literally everybody wants to disc golf right now. If we could figure something out, it'll fill immediately. And so she said, okay. I called Matt Lloyd, who is the coordinator for the Arkansas PDGA at that point. He confirmed that, as long as we did it safely, we'd be good to go. And so we scheduled that one. And then before we even ran it, we scheduled a second one the next weekend. And I called GK Pro and told them, this is what we're doing. You guys want to come down? They were like packing up their van already. Before we had even talked, they were ready to come down. They had heard about what we were doing. So they were coming down. We figured out, a way for them to stay right there on the site. We got some in the bags filmed with Rebecca and Nathan. And then we figured out, some other stuff to film. And one of them was a skins match. So I sat there and called everybody on the PDGA directory that had to do with the disc golf business, called like every single one of them, called Tina Oakley, called all the manufacturers, anybody associated got a call from me that day. And I asked them if they wanted to be part of a skins match. We're doing CTPs, $50 per. And we filled up 18 CTPs with like all different people. I guess that was the skins then. So I don't know, we got a bunch of people down, but Danny from OTB, I'll never forget, loved the idea, immediately was, on board, said, here's $1,200, use it how you want. We think what you guys are doing is awesome. And we look forward to making this work. So like we called it Tour Series Skins, thinking like maybe this could be a partnership between OTB and us. OTB continued to be down, and every single point we've said, could we do this? What do you guys think about this? They've been down. They're just fans of disc golf, and they support the community. They truly do. I know I say it all the time on Skins, but Danny, Aaron, Greg, Stanley, the boys at OTB, from the community, much love.
And it's really grown into a thing. I mean, people are like, cannot wait for the next one to come out. We happen to be recording on a day when the latest Skins just dropped. Did somebody ace? I haven't watched it yet.
Nobody aced. I don't know. That's not going to be a spoiler, I guess, because
it'll be out tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay. Nobody aced. Nope. It's still $10,000, man. 10 racks for somebody to come on Skins and ace. I think that the high number honestly makes it harder. People step up to very aceable holes, and they're probably shaking a little bit these days. Their hands are a little sweaty. No one can seem to get it in. We've had a bunch of good runs, but nope.
So, what you basically started this then, and got GK involved. Are you kind of like the head producer, would you say, of the concept at this point, or has GK kind of taken that over? I know you have a close relationship with those guys, and I don't know exactly what your business side is. Yeah,
totally. No, it's a group effort. It's something that I don't think you could pin it on one person. Everybody brings ideas to the table. Everybody holds a share of the weight. And at the end of the day, it couldn't be done without all of us. So no, the GK crew is vital to this. It's nothing that I could do by myself, obviously. And I enjoy working with these guys. They're an awesome group of people from Tulsa, Oklahoma that love disc golf. And dude, they work so hard. They're some hardworking guys.
So Charlie mentioned a little bit the business side, and I want to talk sponsorships and your deal. So I think if I remember right, you were sponsored by Prodiscus first.
Yep.
And then by Prodigy.
Yep.
And you just finished a 2-year contract with Prodigy that just expired. What have you signed another contract then?
Yep, that's right, Josh. We went ahead and signed a 4-year deal. And this hasn't been talked about much.
Wow.
The first time people are hearing about it. Yeah, the first 2 years with Prodigy were incredible. Not just the team and the atmosphere, but the people working at the home office and of course the plastic. Everything made sense, and it's a place I want to be. Switching bags is tough. It leads to poor performance and discouragement, disappointment, things that I've had to deal with as I've switched bags already. And it's just, it's not something I want to do again in the near future. So it made sense to go with a 4-year, and I can't wait to represent Prodigy in the future.
How is your contract structured? Is it a standard pro disc golfer contract, or is it a little different because you have such a kind of a media arm that's atypical for a lot of players?
Yeah, it's definitely custom. What I do, especially what I did up until this year, was media based and not as much performance based. So, being in the spotlight for Skins or whatever it may be has its advantages, and Prodigy realized that and met me in the middle. Really met me where I was at. So I appreciate them doing that.
Do you have any performance bonuses or parts into your contract?
I do. It was not something that I focused on, though. Yeah, I sat last year. I was like,
sure.
Look at those bonuses. I was just like, well, yeah, we'll see if that ever happens or whatever, Like an 11th graded round, like, oh, ha, ha, ha. Like, good luck getting that. I shoot a 1092 or whatever, 3rd round of 4th round of the year. Yeah.
So what then, I mean, you have this, whether it's influenced by your contract or not, you're on tour, and you are, without a doubt, the most exciting name in disc golf right now. You lead the tour standings by 50 points. You've said yourself that you've come out at tournaments where you didn't have high expectations. And Waco, for example, you said it's your second least favorite course on tour. Real quick, though, I got to ask, what's your least favorite course on tour?
It's Vegas. Vegas.
Oh, it's Vegas.
On tour. I'm not even kidding.
So,
I'm not even kidding.
So I'll come back to your game in just a minute, but so you come out on your least favorite and second least favorite courses on tour, and you're now ahead in the Disc Golf Pro Tour standings by 50 points. This has to change your goals going into the rest of the season.
Yeah, it definitely does, man. I said that to my girlfriend Angie in the car yesterday. Like, I have to get new goals now. I'm looking at the match play. Now I'm looking at, trying to secure a top 8 spot for the Pro Tour Championship, get the bye into the semifinals. So there's definitely some things I'm writing down now that weren't there before. But I think, it all makes sense. This isn't magic, and, I didn't take some potion that's going to wear off. I put my time in and I practiced, and I played with a bunch of guys that beat me all the time until I figured out that I could play with them.
What's interesting to me, I mean, you've been very consistently right in the square middle of the 10-10 rating department for like almost like 2.5 years, something like that. And like, you just played 1050 plus golf for 7 rounds in very different circumstances, different weather, different courses. Has something like clicked all of a sudden for you? Like, do you feel a difference in your game, or is this just like, I'm trying to decide if I think this is going to be persistent for the whole season, and if you think it's going to be persistent for the whole season.
Yeah. Oh man, it's about belief, and anybody can throw frisbees, but believing that they're going to go where you want, truly believing it makes them come out a little different, a little more in the heart. I think that putting in 15-minute putting sessions where your putter doesn't hit the ground are good for you, build up that confidence and give you that belief. And as far as the end of the year is concerned and what's going to happen, it's golf. It's a crazy game, and it's not something we master. It's something that we're on a journey. So yeah, I'm gonna play some hot rounds. I can guarantee you that. I'm not saying I'm going to play perfect or continue to lead the standings or anything, but I'm going to take it one shot at a time when I'm on the course and pick a target and deliver it on the angle that I want.
Sorry, Josh. What were your your performance goals coming into the year? Have you already met them?
I probably have as many tour points as I had last year, honestly, which is pretty stupid to say. My goals were to make it to the Tour Championship, which is a goal I've had for the last 3 years, and that didn't happen. I was literally bubble boy 2 years in a row, first person to not be included in the Pro Tour. And then last year was maybe my worst performance of all. And that was just due to a lot of work and not much disc golfing, showing up to tournament rounds, many times not playing a practice round on that course before I teed off. So I was weighting things differently. It wasn't like I was super mad that I was doing that, because it's opportunity cost. And I was, getting in media time and working with my skins guys or doing whatever it was, that I felt like was more pertinent at that time. And now I feel like playing needs to have a priority. And so I think that things are aligning.
So which course are you looking? I guess this can be two different answers, but which course do you feel like sets up best for your game? And is that your favorite course? And if not, what is your favorite course or tournament for this upcoming season?
I think maybe...
I realize it could be two answers.
Yeah, it probably will be. It will be. I think I could win the USDGC. I think that course sets up really nice for me. I don't think it has to do too much with distance. I think it has to do with taking aggressive lines, which, because I don't throw as far, I typically have to take more often. I have to flex it over the lake instead of the pure hyzer or whatever you have. So I've got, a couple top 20s there, probably prior to me really playing well. That's due to good feeling. So I think that I could win that place. It's not necessarily my favorite. I think my favorite is either the Delaware Disc Golf Challenge course, Iron Hill, or the Beast in Nokia, Finland, which offers, a really true test. I think Delaware, I shot an 11 last year to cash by 1 stroke. I think that was like a tying course record possibly. So I had the feels going into that. And now that I got that, that's definitely probably my favorite course. It's just, it's long and it's nasty, and then you can't hold back. You got to throw drivers hard in the woods, which is, it's a little bigger gaps than Waco. I know that's what we were doing this weekend, but something about it. It feels better in Delaware.
Congratulations, Luke. I think you are the first person I've ever heard and may ever hear say that Iron Hill is their favorite disc golf course.
Because you guys are kind of from up in the area. Yeah. It's
Charlie's that direction, but I never hear Iron Hill as a favorite, at least among touring pros that we talk to.
Yeah,
they don't want to grind. They don't want to grind in the woods.
No. The winner, I mean, if you win at Iron Hill, bro, you played some golf. You deserve it. You shredded some lines. When Matt Bell won, came back on Rick, that was phenomenal. And there's a video of Bradley Williams coming back on Rick, and that's one of the hottest rounds probably ever played. Which brings me up, another point. The PDGA rating system that you talked about that, tells me that I'm the same that I was 2.5 years ago can, kick rocks, in my opinion. Like, yeah, you're rating something, but it doesn't matter what it is if it's not the right thing.
Yeah. Well, where do you think your game has progressed the most in the last 2 years?
It's just the comfortability and the belief. It's so hard to go from watching Paul Macbeth on YouTube to trying to beat him on a course. Like, it doesn't just happen overnight. You don't just all of a sudden do that. Like, you're in awe and you see shots you can't throw, and then you try them and you suck at them, and then you start getting better at it, and then you decide you can't lay up any putts, and you decide if you want to win, you actually have to go for everything. If there's water behind it, if there's water, whatever. You just gotta do it, and that takes time to figure out.
What'd you think when Macbeth hit the 50-footer on hole 1 after going OB?
I thought he was going to make it. Luckily, I like every putt he lined up all weekend. I just assumed he was going to make. So nothing surprised me. He's absolutely ridiculous. And yeah, that was the first time that I had seen it up close, standing right there, hoping he, maybe might not, but I felt like he would. And it was so pure. So pure,
it was.
Dude. Yeah. In the heart, bro.
It was in the heart.
It was a statement. That was nasty.
So we talked about this a little bit. Is it demoralizing to watch to play on the same card as Macbeth and watch him just put in putt after putt after, like, you're like, oh, he's out of position. No, he's not.
Yeah.
Nowhere's out of position for Macbeth's putting. Like,
nah, man, I love it, honestly. I'd have it no other way. I definitely don't want him to miss putts and for me to accidentally win something, we want to earn every bit of it. And to watch him do it in person was awesome. And it's inspiring. He's been at a high level for a long time, and to continue doing it is very impressive. And I commend him and look forward to battling with him again.
Well, it's quite obvious that you've already put more emphasis on, getting prepared and playing your practice rounds and whatnot. What does that mean for how you approach the other things that you're doing whether that be on the media side or other initiatives? Are you doing less in some ways so that you have more time to play?
No, I think the commentating gig kind of, if I separate that out, I get more time to practice and I get more time to prepare for skins. The commentating gig, it takes a lot of time. You're, typically doing it at night, so you're going to sleep late or you're waking up early and you're missing out on sleep. It's like, it's an entirely different schedule that you have to live if you're doing the commentating gig. So that's so much extra time to go to the grocery store, to get laundry done, to walk Hogan, just to feel more comfortable and just to feel like I've got my life in order, which helps you on the course, obviously.
So I've got to ask the question that I think everybody's been asking. What happened to the mustache, man? I mean, that was iconic.
Yeah, man, it was, a COVID thing. I did it as a joke. Nobody was around, so I started messing around. My lady, Angie, she kind of likes it, so I kept it around. But at the end of the day, like, I couldn't eat ice cream. Like, the sandwiches would get stuff in them. Like, It's just a lot of work, man. I was looking forward to just like eating some ice cream and not having to worry about a napkin every other bite.
Well, now you can never regrow the mustache because we've seen what's happened when you cut it off.
Right.
There's no choice.
I heard somebody say it's like Samson, except the opposite.
Yeah.
Cut the mustache and get your powers.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to do the math in my head, but I can't figure it out. Are you like 28, 29, something in there?
I am 34.
34.
Yeah.
Well, I did the math horribly wrong. How about that? 34.
Yeah, the time off in college and then the time to go back, that was a lot. There was a lot of time there. I graduated high school in 2005, and I graduated from college in 2014.
Got it.
So
Wow.
Got myself a...
So you were almost 30 when you started playing disc golf.
Yeah, I was pretty close, man, for sure. Professional disc golf, I was 30.
Yeah. Wow. Was that ever intimidating? Did you ever think like, I'm in my mid 30s and I'm going to go out now and dedicate my time to really getting good so I can be on tour in professional disc golf?
Yeah, when you say it like that, it does seem like an uphill battle. But when you break it down and it's just like, what is it? It's just throwing some plastic around. What are you good at? Randomly throwing stuff here and there, whether it's like paper into the trash can or a rock at a beehive or whatever. I've been doing it for a long time, and throwing things at things is something that I found that I was pretty good at. So I never imagined that, I'd be competing at the very highest level. I imagined that I could compete with these guys though and make a name for myself as somebody who cashed on tour and who had a personality, which I think that there's a lot of youngsters out here who are trying to figure out life at the end of the day. I'm 34. I've gone to college. I've gotten kicked out of college. I've a bunch of different life experiences that give me a little more patience, a little bit more insight, reflection, whatever it may be. I've worked 20 jobs in my life, so many jobs. I had to pay my parents back the first time I got kicked out of school. So I worked full time at Lowe's as a 19-year-old for a whole year just to pay my folks back. And that was an eye-opening experience, working with 35, 40-year-olds trying to support their families with the same job that I had. And I think it all it gives you a little more, I don't know what the word is, man. You care about it a little more. I'd also thought that maybe the chance of me playing a pro sport was gone. So I'm a little more thankful for it, possibly. This life that all of a sudden popped back in, this opportunity to do an athletic thing, not only for fun, but as my job. Something I don't want to lose and something I'm happy to work for. Doesn't even feel like work.
What's your favorite part about being on tour?
The people. Easy answer. My friends, hanging out with the GK Pro crew, Nate Perkins, Paige Pierce, James Conrad, his girlfriend Jordan, Calvin Heimberg, Madison Walker, my boy Kev, obviously. There's, I could go on. Noah Meitzma, Gavin Rathbun, Ian Burchett, Alex Russell. These are people I love and love getting to know. And the list could go on.
And how long have you been living on the road in a van or just even moving a lot? Obviously since childhood.
Yeah. So I was renting a house in Carrollton, Texas in 2016 and 17. And that's the last time I paid rent anywhere. I watched a buddy's house in Rockwall, Texas for a year as I was kind of starting to transition into pro disc golf. And like, what a blessing that was. My boy Banks Hamby from Hot Springs, Arkansas, incredible friend, and giving me the opportunity to kind of transition like that. So he allowed me to, watch his house. And then almost immediately after that, Pro Discus offered me the RV. So at the beginning of 2019, I jumped in that RV and, I've been on the road since, living in automobiles on wheels.
What would you say to younger disc golfers? Because a lot of them are getting in have gotten in thanks to YouTube and, are looking at tour and think that's something that, maybe I could do. So what would you say to younger disc golfers about this lifestyle, about this decision, who are thinking somewhere around the age maybe to forego college in order to come play disc golf?
Yeah, I think it's something that you should try. I don't know that you want to do it your whole life, but you definitely don't want to go your whole life without wondering if you could have. So take a chance. You're young. Now's the time. And if you really want it, decide that you do and work like you do. You know, there's a bunch of people that are doing a lot of work to make it out here. A lot, you know. And if you want to do things you've never done, you got to go about it a way that you've never done it.
Are you able to live comfortably on the road? You know, your part, with the exception of these last couple tournaments, you know, you're somebody who's been generally more a middle of the pack disc golfer, where, you know, we talk about these $1 million contracts, and that's not coming to everybody. So how has that been for you? Do you have to do side jobs elsewhere, or have you made it work with the GK work and with your new contract with Prodigy, et cetera?
The work with GK and the new contract with Prodigy is, you know, something I haven't had in the past. But prior to that, I've continued to work at the shipping and packaging supply sales job that I've had for 6 or 7 years now. You know, I mentioned my friend Banks Hamby from Hot Springs before. He owns a company, Sigma Supply. I'm an outside sales rep for them still in the Dallas area. I've got an office in Grand Prairie and a handful of clients that I still service that order very similar products, you know, week in, week out, month in, month out. So it's not something that I need to manage all the time. But that's been a nice source of revenue while I was out on the road and unable to, you know, cash real highly in disc golf as I was getting started. So no, I haven't ever had to really struggle in this life. But, you know, I'm not saving any money, hadn't been saving any money really. You know,
is it like a new level for you then in 2022? Tournament winnings aside?
Yeah, it is. It is. Prodigy recognized my value, like I said before, and met me where I was. They've also started to work with my girlfriend, Angie. She's going to be doing some signing sessions, some vending stuff, setting up some stuff with the players that was a job that we didn't have prior to this year. So she's going to be getting some paid as well, which is nice. Awesome. And we'll be able to get a few more Airbnbs and, you know, upgrade from whatever to steakhouses. Yeah, I mean, we're not rich by any means, but we're comfortable, and it's the lifestyle and the community that we love. And I do it for free, honestly, man. It's nothing about this has to do with the money, not even a little bit. Like I said before, man, it's the people for me.
Yeah. Does the last, you know, LVC in Waco, does this just launch your confidence to new highs?
Yeah, I'm trying to take it in stride, though. Honestly, I'm trying to play good this weekend in Belton. But yeah, it's confirming, of course, to know that I have it in me. Up until this point, a 10th place finish in Portland was my best DGPT event, and a 9th place finish at the Hall of Fame Classic was my best national tour. So getting into the top 5 in Vegas was huge, and coming to Waco, literally no expectations, especially with that first round going to be the way it was. I knew I had stable discs in my bag, and I knew how to throw them, especially from the week before. So, you know, just playing the shot right in front of me, the one that I know I can play, and put myself in a position where I can drop a putt was all I was trying to do, and that's what I'm going to continue doing.
Did you play round 1 in your swimsuit and water shoes?
Dude, I think I played it in 2 shirts, 2 hoodies, and a jacket.
Cold.
Yeah, it was terrible. Oh my gosh. I had my mittens on the whole time. It was terrible.
It looked terrible.
Macbeth said it was the first time in his career that he's used hand warmers.
Wow.
Never used them before. And he also said on Skins today that 1100 rated round he shot was with brand new Frisbees.
Yeah, I heard that, which is insane.
It's so crazy. He made it like sound nonchalant, like, oh, all you got to do is just throw a hyzer or whatever. It's like, oh, okay, right. 1100's 1100, my guy.
Yeah. I still remember some fan gave him a disc, brand new disc that he dyed for him right before USDGC. So he Paul put it in his bag and then threw like an ultra clutch shot on 18 with it, like first time throwing it. Like never had thrown it before. I don't know. I just can't even fathom that. I would never do that.
He's a baller, man. Hard to know why that's what he does.
What's your number one? If somebody wants to get into OTB Skins and they've never watched it, what's the episode they should watch?
Eagles Crossing, I guess. I mean, if are they into disc golf already and they just haven't watched Skins?
Let's assume so because they're listening to this podcast.
Yeah. So let's say Eagles Crossing, this course that hasn't had much footage of it yet. And it's the best course in the world. Literally had $1 million thrown into it in the past couple of years. Owner is looking to take it to the clouds, doesn't care what it costs. And he's looking to bring out the best talent. And we did that in our first one. James Conrad, Nate Sexton, Eagle McMahon, and Simon Lizotte, top boys in the game, battling it out for as much cash as ever been battled out for.
And you're running it back this year, right?
We're going to do like 2 more plus a finale. So our first one that we're going to do is in between Jonesboro and Dynamic Discs Open. And that one's going to have Stokely, Brody, Calvin, and Eagle on it. But we're also going to be back in the middle of the year and then again at the end of the year. So big shout out to Eagles Crossing for not only supporting us, the players, but also GK Pro. Everything that we're doing now, they're supporting as well and getting down on. So Eagles Crossing, baby.
Do you think that course should get a Pro Tour event or something?
Dude, 100%. Like we watched Kale create the preserve and then like instantly get elevated to the preserve status. It was not a B tier, it was not an A tier, it was not anything. It was a Pro Tour first. Boom, right out the gate. If we can do that with one course, why can't we do it with another, especially one that's like obviously ready? The dude dropped like $1,500 in dye per blue pad. So these pads are so big, James Conrad can stand on them the whole time. And they're dyed blue, not just painted blue. So when they fade, there is no fade. Cobalt powder is super expensive apparently. So there's like 20 grand put in just in dye into these tee pads. So it's ridiculous numbers and details that no one else has looked at. I mean, this guy has thought through spectators. He's got spots for the cameras, elevated spots for them as well. Like, it's just, dude, it's the best, man. He already thought about it. He knows golf. He decided to do this based on watching YouTube videos of disc golf. Like, he didn't play, didn't know.
So crazy.
Played. Yeah, it's amazing, man. He's a gift. Philip Samuels, you're a gift to disc golf, brother. Thank you.
Now he just needs to wire the course with fiber so that he can have a camera on every hole and we can shoot like a PGA Tour event. Dude,
100%.
He'll probably do it now that I've said it.
Hey, he might. He's writing the check right now.
Well, gosh, Luke, this has been awesome. And, congratulations for all the success you've had so far this season. What's been the most fun part of all of, this hot start you've had?
I don't know, man. I'm trying to keep it basic. I guess I bought some rock climbing shoes. I splurged and got myself some of those so that Kevin Jones doesn't have an advantage on me. That's the best part, I guess. I'm on the rock wall. At least now me and Kev are equal, and we can battle it out there. And
you're a rock collecting hobbyist.
Big time.
What's the best? So I have 2 questions about this before we let you go.
Okay.
Number 1 is, how do you find cool rocks in the world?
Mm-hmm.
What's a general tip?
Online is really good. Type in rock hounding and then whatever area that you're in. And that's a good way to start if you're in North Dakota or even a more specific, little spot. You never know what's around you. Everybody, you've been living in that neighborhood 10 years, but you didn't know that there's a rock quarry down the way and you can find fossils in it or whatever. So go online. People have been doing it and they talk about it. Or go to your local rock shop, because you definitely have one of those as well. You've probably never been there, but that guy is super cool and knowledgeable. And he's probably got a book in there that you can read and find out some stuff about your area. That are like, there's pay to dig places as well. If you're in the Arkansas area, Mount Ida specifically, you can pay like $20 and go dig through tailings and find crystal clear quartz crystals. Just
sweet.
Yeah.
What's your best find?
Dude, I've got some sick finds, man. I've got a few chunks of wavelite that are probably museum worthy, honestly. There's a mineral that comes from, it's like Arkansas, Pennsylvania, and Australia. And the only good stuff comes from Arkansas. It's green and kind of fibrous looking, really rare. Just, green minerals are rare in general, but this one I love. It's probably my favorite, and I've got a couple huge chunks of it. So probably that, but I dug some quartz with some cookite balls inside of them in Little Rock one year. And that's also incredible just to see a crystal clear quartz crystal with like a literal blue ball just floating in it. And it, I don't want to get into it too much, but if you tell me it took 350 million years for that crystal to form, like, I'm laughing you out of the building. There's no way things are floating inside things 350 million years. We won't go there. Well, I don't know how long it took to build or to make or to form or whatever, but yeah, don't bring me that. You know how long a million person, whoever that is, million's a long time. 350 of them, that's a long time.
That's a long time. All right, Luke. Well, good luck at Belton this weekend. Looking forward to it. Maybe we'll see you on the lead card. I'm commentating this weekend, so
are you all right?
See you out there. Yeah.
Right on. Thank you. I appreciate you being here with you guys, Josh and Charlie. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for coming by.
Thanks,
we
Luke.
hope to have you on again.
Yep. Look forward to it, boys.
Luke Humphries, DGPT points leader, heading into Belton, and Texas State's coming up, and Champions Cup first major right around the corner. Thanks, Luke.